Welcome into the Commanders Report. I'm your host, Jack Sperry. Today we got the latest rumors surrounding Terry McLaurin. First up, we'll talk about Albert Breer, reporter for Sports Illustrated, who reveals the Terry McLaurin price tag and why I would pay that price tag today if I were the Washington Commanders. Then we'll get into a Bleacher Report article that lists 6 Terry McLaurin trade packages, and I'm going to let you guys know why I would decline all of them. But before we get into today's content, make sure you guys click that subscribe button for breaking Terry McLaurin news. Whenever the McLaurin contract comes down, and I do believe it'll happen before Commanders training camp this year, we will have a breaking news video for you guys right here on the Commanders Report, so make sure you guys click that subscribe button to not miss that move. Okay, so now let's get into the latest surrounding McLaurin, where Sports Illustrated's Albert Breer says that things are not, quote-unquote, in a great place right now between the All-Pro wide receiver and the team. This is what Breer had to say on DC radio yesterday. I don't think it's in a great place right now. If you ask me where this is, and I think it's just sort of, I hate to say normal course of things, but I do think to some degree these things do tend to get bumpy. I think it's fair for him to ask for something in the range of $30 million per season, just based on where the market's gone. Now, listen, guys, I don't think that there's anything abnormal about the way things are going down between Terry McLaurin and the Washington Commanders. Do you prefer that he would have signed by now, would have signed that extension by now? Absolutely, all right? But we see every single year that players drag their contract negotiations all throughout the summer, sometimes even into training camp, and then they almost always get those deals done before the start of week one, especially for teams like the Washington Commanders that are trying to win now and know that they need players like Terry McLaurin if they are going to take advantage of Jaden Daniels' rookie contract here in the years to come. And, you know, if Breer's right and he thinks that it's going to cost just $30 million per season, I know it's crazy just saying just $30 million per year on a player, but when you look at the market for wide receivers nowadays, that barely puts them in the top 10. I mean, that puts them right where Brandon Ayuk and Tyreek Hill have been at. Same thing with Amon-Ra St. Brown, who just got a little bit over that $30 million mark. It puts him in the top 10 if he gets 30, and I think that might actually be what the Washington Commanders are offering right now. And if that's something that, you know, he wants to take, I would pay him that today. All right. If I'm the Washington Commanders, Terry McLaurin to me is a top 10 receiver in the game, and he deserves to be paid that dollar figure, even though he's getting close to 30 years old. But something tells me that Terry is asking for more than that $30 million per season mark, and I think he's probably trying to get up to where DK Metcalf got paid by the Pittsburgh Steelers this year, which was $33 million per season. And if he's asking to get like Justin Jefferson level money at $35 million per season, I think that that's probably the line that I would draw in the sand, where I'm saying that's too expensive for a player, even a really good player, an all-pro receiver in Terry McLaurin. He's just not on the level of a Justin Jefferson to me, especially heading into, you know, his 30s here, where I just wouldn't feel comfortable paying him that much money against the cap every single season. But I'm still confident that McLaurin and the Commanders are going to come to a deal. You guys know how I feel about this if you've been watching the channel. I believe that this is just a matter of time that McLaurin will sign an extension with the Washington Commanders, and it's gonna be interesting to see how long the extension is, how much money he gets, how much guaranteed money he gets, especially because he is approaching that age 30 mark. But I am confident that McLaurin wants to be here because this team is awesome, and obviously he has a great connection with the quarterback, Jaden Daniels. He finally has, you know, a potential elite quarterback throwing him the football after years of poor quarterback play here in Washington. And then Washington wants him because they know that they need him if they're going to compete for a Lombardi Trophy this year, and he's currently a top 10 receiver that just had an all-pro season. It doesn't make any sense for either party not to get this deal done, so I think it'll get done eventually. So where are you guys at? Let me know down there in the comment section. What's the percent chance that Terry McLaurin plays for the Washington Commanders this year? Put it on a scale of 0 to 100 for me down there in the comment section. 0 meaning no chance he plays for the Commanders. They're trading him or they're going to let him sit out the season. To 100% meaning he is definitely going to be a Washington Commander. For me personally, I would be putting my by 100 down there in the comment section. I'm not sure Terry McLaurin will be locked up by the Washington Commanders this year, but this will be the pinned comment on today's show. In just a second here, I'm going to tell you about our sponsor today at Fanatics. And while we're talking about Fanatics today, you guys can go down there in the comment section and give me your percent chance Scary Terry is a Commander this year. Now, the situation with Scary Terry is a little bit hairy right now, but the receiver we know will be playing for the Washington Commanders is Deebo Samuel, who will be rocking that number 1 for the Burgundy and Gold this year. And if you want to get his jersey from our friends at Fanatics today and you want to help out the channel, you guys can go chatsports.com/Deebo. That is our special link down there in the comments and description of today's show. And if you guys click that link and make a purchase of a Deebo Samuel jersey, part of the proceeds of that purchase goes to us here at the Commanders Report to help us keep the lights on, pay rent, do all the different things we need to do to keep this content free on YouTube. So if you're planning on getting a Deebo Samuel jersey anyway, you can go chatsports.com/Deebo and help out the channel while doing so. So now let's get into some trade package possibilities here, because Bleacher Report's Christopher Knox has listed 6 trade packages on 6 different teams that the Commanders could potentially consider if they want to shop the All-Pro wide receiver. Now, I will reiterate this for the people in the back, all right? Before I start, I am 100% against trading Terry McLaurin. There's no circumstance, unless it's we're going into week 1 of the NFL season and they are still far apart on negotiations, and he's asking for $36, $38, $40 million per season. It's just too expensive. You got to let him go. There's very few kind of circumstances where I would even think about trading Terry McLaurin heading into a win now season. So we're going to go over these 6 trade kind of packages that Bleacher Report put together. I'm going to tell you why I would decline all 6 of these things. All right, so we'll start with the Cardinals here, where Christopher Knox has the idea of trading Terry McLaurin to the Cardinals in exchange for a 2026 second-round pick and Zaven Collins, the edge rusher. And honestly, the reason why I would decline this one, and this is going to be a recurring theme here with these trade ideas, guys, is that I think if you trade Terry McLaurin, you got to get a good wide receiver back for him, because you look at the wide receiver room here in Washington right now, Deebo Samuel's more of a gadget-type player. He's not like a true number 1. I think he proved that last year in San Francisco. Noah Brown is fine, but is he a true number 2? I like him a lot more as a number 3. I feel like you got to get a receiver back in any deal, and even though Zaven Collins is a fine player and the Commanders do need help at edge rusher, I think you got to get a receiver back in the deal of some kind, and there's just no way the Cardinals are giving up Maserati Marvin Harrison Jr. In this deal. Then we move over to the Los Angeles Chargers, who could use another wide receiver as well. There is a wide receiver included in this deal. The Commanders would get a second-round pick and a fourth-round pick, along with Quentin Johnston, former first-round pick out of TCU. And in exchange, the Chargers would get McLaurin and a third-round pick in next year's NFL draft. The reason why I would decline this trade offer is, even though there is a wide receiver in the deal, he's very similar to Deebo Samuel, where it's kind of quick throw, manufactured touch artist, where he's good after the catch. He's a big body that's good after the catch and has good rushing instincts and all these different things, but he's got a drop issue. I think he's a decent route runner, but he's not. I'd like to say about Quentin Johnston is that he looks like Tarzan, but he plays like Jane out there. He doesn't play physically at the catch point. He doesn't make a lot of contested catches, and honestly, he has some concentration drops as well, which he's well known for. So this is not a suitable replacement for Terry McLaurin as far as I am concerned, and you're essentially putting a redundant skill set to Deebo Samuel in this same offense, which I'm not interested in doing. Trade package number 3 from Christopher Knox from Bleacher Report has the Commanders getting a second-round pick from the New England Patriots, plus Austin Hooper, the tight end, for Terry McLaurin. And honestly, this might be the worst trade package out of this entire article. Austin Hooper is not a very good player, in my opinion, at least not at this stage of his NFL journey. And, even though it is an offensive weapon, the Commanders don't need a tight end. They got Zach Ertz, they've got Ben Sinnott, who they spent a high draft pick on, and they just signed John Bates to a multi-year extension as well. And then if you make this deal, you got 4 tight ends, and you don't replace Terry McLaurin in the wide receiver room. And I'm going to keep reiterating that point. If there's not a wide receiver in the trade package for Terry McLaurin, it doesn't make sense for the Washington Commanders to accept that trade. Now, this one's a little bit interesting here. The New York Jets would get Terry McLaurin, Austin Eckler, and a 5th-round pick next year from the Commanders. And in exchange, the Commanders would get a 2nd-round pick next year from the Jets. By the way, the Commanders Commanders don't have a second rounder next year because of the Laramie Tunsil trade, and they get Breece Hall. So you'd have a running back duo of Breece Hall and Brian Robinson Jr. And even though this is intriguing, just like the other ones that don't include a wide receiver, like what is the situation in Washington at the wide receiver position? Now, maybe if you would tell me maybe they go get Amari Cooper to be this team's new number one outside receiver, maybe I would think about it. But as I've said on the show a number of times, guys, you don't need like a high-flying, really good, really talented running back to lead this running back room. You got Jaden Daniels as kind of like another running back on your offense, and even with Brian Robinson Jr., Austin Eckler, and the guys they had in this room last year, this was a top 5 rushing offense in the league last year according to rushing EPA. So I once again, you didn't include a wide receiver in the deal, so I'm not interested. Then we get to the Pittsburgh Steelers here, where this one's a little bit higher of a draft pick here, a 2026 first-round pick from Pittsburgh, and then a 5th-round pick in 2027 in exchange for Terry McLaurin. I don't think that this makes sense for either side, guys. The Steelers are going to probably be drafting a quarterback in the first round next year, so I think there's no way in hell they give up their first-round pick next year under any circumstances for any player. But I'm going to be a broken record here. There's no wide receiver in this deal, so I'm not very interested in trading Terry McLaurin unless I'm getting a good receiver in return for him. And this deal does not provide that. Then we get to the final one here from Bleacher Report, which has Terry McLaurin going to the Tennessee Titans. And this one's a little bit interesting because the Titans have some receivers to work with here, but they don't include them any in this deal. The Commanders get a 2nd, a 5th, and Treylon Burks. And the reason why I would decline this trade, guys, you're going to hear me say it again. There's no legitimate wide receiver in this deal because Treylon Burks is freaking terrible, all right? He's just a complete bust. He might not even make the final roster for the Tennessee Titans this year, so you can just leave him at home, all right? We don't want him on our roster here in Washington. If you include Calvin Ridley in this deal, maybe we can, have a discussion, but is Tennessee going to do that? I think that's probably a dubious proposition at best, but hey, if you want to bring Calvin Ridley to the table, Tennessee, I'd be more than willing to talk. That is if I'm even thinking about trading Terry McLaurin, which I am not. Like I said at the beginning of this video, guys, there are very few realistic avenues where I would legitimately think about trading Terry McLaurin. He's an all-pro caliber receiver. He's a leader in the locker room. He's got great chemistry with the quarterback here in Jaden Daniels. It just doesn't make sense to trade him. So if there's a reasonable number that he is willing to take, all right, and when I say reasonable, pretty much anything $33 million per season or under is what I would consider to be reasonable. He's willing to take that amount of money. Pay him that today, all right? This guy is too good to be letting go of, and there's not a whole lot of realistic trade avenues that make sense for this football team, so you got to get it done. So what say you guys? Let me know down there in the comment section. Is a Terry McLaurin trade 100% off the table for you? All right, let me know what you guys think. For me, it is. What do you guys think down there in the comment section? Give me a yes or a no to this question to finish up today's show. And with that, that'll be the end of today's edition of the Commanders Report by Chat Sports. We got more Commanders content coming your way throughout the weekend, so make sure you click that subscribe button if you haven't already to never miss one of our videos.